Lyme is multisystemic, meaning it causes many symptoms at once. So if you have these type of symptoms, you should get tested.
Check.
But there's a second test. It's called a Western blot, and there are specific numbers on the Western blot that tells you if you've been exposed.
Tell us what to do. So if a person has Lyme disease, what's the remedy?
Breaking news here to tell you about a high-speed pursuit. You see it right there on your screen. Let's get to Megan Reyes in Boyle Heights. Megan.
Here we go. We are looking at this high-speed pursuit originated out of the LAPD Northeast Division, not knowing what the suspect is wanted for yet, but LAPD actually went on a tracking mode, very high speed of raids. They decided they were going to go on a tracking mode in order to minimize any potential danger for anybody, but the vehicle was still traveling at a very high rate of speed, so they re-engaged back into the pursuit. We're coming into downtown Los Angeles. LAPD in pursuit of a vehicle. Here we go. We got some cross traffic there, running the red light. That vehicle there almost had to slam on his brakes in order to prevent from hitting that car. So what we know is one person is in this vehicle. That police car right there is pit certified. This guy is getting ready to get in position, and he's actually going to try to pit this vehicle to bring this pursuit to an end. But right now we're coming into the streets of downtown Los Angeles. News Chopper 4 on scene here covering this, coming into downtown. A high-speed pursuit initiated out of the LAPD Northeast Division.
High speeds in this chase right now. Give us, what have you been clocking since you've been on? You were first on the scene, by the way.
Yeah, News Chopper 4 arrived first on the scene here, and we are covering this pursuit. A little interference here on the radio. We're just trying to hear LAPD what they're saying. But again, that unit there is trying to engage in a pit maneuver, and it's very careful when they have to do that. The conditions have to be precise as a vehicle makes a turn right there. That could be the perfect time to execute that pit maneuver, but it wasn't able to do that. So now it looks like we're actually getting onto the 110 freeway. So you can say, really, the pit maneuver is not going to work when we're on the freeway. It's going to be a little too dangerous to execute that. Unfortunately, on the freeway, that brings conditions different now. We're going on the North 110 freeway approaching Stadium Way. That allows the vehicle to travel at somewhat of a higher rate of speed. So LAPD right now is still primary, but they can also consider contacting the CHP, and whether or not they're going to let them handle this pursuit is up to them. But again, this is a pursuit originating out of the Northeast Division. We still don't understand why they wanted to pull this person over, whether or not it was just a routine traffic stop, but this person for some reason has decided not to pull over, and now we're following this pursuit coming into the tunnels here along the 110 freeway coming into Elysian Park. I need to be on the other side, please.
Okay, so Megan Reyes live over a high-speed pursuit which started in Northeast Division. LAPD on this right now. It's a game changer, Megan, because we've gone from surface streets now onto the freeway.
Well, you know, sometimes when you're on the freeway, it kind of cuts both ways there. There's the vehicle right there coming into the second tunnel. When you're on surface streets, you have more potential for an accident. You have a lot of traffic. You have pedestrians, and it being summer, you have more kids out there. On the freeways, you're going to see faster speeds, but less chance, in my opinion, of seeing an accident. So we don't have to worry about cross traffic or anything of that nature. We're coming up out of the tunnel, and this person can make that transition. In fact, we just passed the transition. So now we're just going into the Highland Park area. And actually, this is the area where this pursuit originated. North 110 freeway, we're coming into Highland Park. It originated in that area. So a lot of times they want to stick to an area where they're familiar. So we're not sure, again, what this person is wanted for, but we do know News Chopper 4 is covering this very fast pursuit now on the 110 freeway. He's going probably at least 75, 80 miles per hour as we pass Avenue 29 north on this 110 freeway.
And Megan, Michelle Weiss here, joining in with you guys too. We just got information from our desk that it is indeed, in fact, a stolen vehicle that we are looking at. So that has been confirmed here. Let's talk about that pit maneuver and talk about what perhaps can happen right now. Now that it's on the freeway, that suspect, we believe one suspect in that car, there was a brief moment in Boyle Heights where they could have stopped that vehicle in a pit maneuver. Not the case on the freeway. If that suspect gets off the freeway, is that indeed another approach they can take to stop this suspect?
Well, absolutely. When that suspect decides to exit the freeway, that is the point when that unit wants to engage and get as close as possible and initiate that pit maneuver. Now, speeds, I believe, up to 35 miles per hour. Once you get beyond that, things are a little dangerous. And on freeways, things are pretty unpredictable. You don't want to begin doing a pit maneuver. Let's slow down just a little, Dave. It's on the 110 freeway, so you don't want to be going too fast when you execute that pit maneuver. So that's why conditions have to be perfect. The unit has to be certified. In fact, that vehicle confirmed, that LAPD officer in that car confirmed they are pit certified. So they will initiate that when it is safe to do so. Right now on the 110 freeway, that is not the case. We're still going fast into the Highland Park area, and LAPD probably has already contacted South Pasadena Police. If we start going further north, we're going to come into South Pasadena and then Pasadena where the freeway ends. They're putting those agencies on notice that we have a pursuit, might be coming into your neighborhood, and they may actually require assistance sometimes when LAPD officers go into a different jurisdiction. Looks like that's probably Avenue 43 crossing over on the 110 freeway. So South Pasadena is going to be our next neighborhood. Looks like maybe Marmion Way or Via Maricel is going to be our next exit. So we're just going to keep an eye on this guy. Really nothing right now that they're going to do on the freeway. They're just following this guy and making sure he's not going to get away. Coming up on an exit now, Dave, we are exiting. That looks like Via Maricel off the 110 freeway. Now watch that LAPD vehicle. Let's see if he's going to get in there and he's going to initiate that pit maneuver. Not able to do it safely. We made that right turn. Again, I think this is Via Maricel coming up into the Highland Park area. So we're just going to see what LAPD is going to do, especially coming up on an intersection here, which I think is going to be Monterey Road here just in a second.
Yeah, and you talk about this is summertime, more children out at this time, not in school, more vehicles, summer vacationers out. Very dangerous situation.
Yeah, and here we go. Looks like he probably just ran that red light, crossing through that intersection, turning northbound now. Now we're paralleling the 110 freeway. He's going to come underneath News Chopper 4 here in a second. But again, this is a perfect moment if LAPD officers can precisely execute that and get behind them. But look at him. He is just really going fast right now on surface streets, and that's why some of these pursuits, they get too dangerous for those officers to actually continue. And what they did earlier is they put this in what they call a tracking mode, where the LAPD helicopter was following him. Unfortunately, he was still driving recklessly, so LAPD re-engaged in that pursuit, assuming that it was probably better to do so, so they can at least try to make some type of effort to bring this pursuit to an end here shortly.
Yeah, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, Megan, but you said this is the general area where this pursuit started in the first place.
It is. In fact, trying to see what street this is. I think by familiarity, this might be like Meridian or Monterey Road, and we are slowly working our way into the South Pasadena area. The 110 freeway, he's basically paralleling the 110 freeway to the west of him. So he's just continuing northbound on the surface streets here. LAPD, you know, they're behind him. They're not going to let him get away. They're staying close next to him, and we're just going to see what we're going to do. And again, what's more concerned is when we come up on intersections. Here we go, kind of getting a little closer right now. He's going to try to get to the left side. Vehicle now making a left turn, and we are in. Oh, there we go. That vehicle, that's South Pasadena now. You're looking at Monterey Road, and now he's heading back toward the 110 freeway. So South Pasadena units are, that's the LAPD helicopter above monitoring it. South Pasadena units are probably already aware that's just on the outside of their neighborhood, but he is going back into the LAPD jurisdiction. He's traveling on Monterey Road, approaching the 110 freeway. He's going to cross over the 110 freeway here momentarily, and we're going to see what this guy decides to do. But look at this. I know this area has construction going on here, so hopefully that's not the case right now, but he's crossing over the 110 freeway, traveling somewhat at a high rate of speed. We almost saw one accident there at Monterey Road and Meridian, so we're going to see what this guy decides to do coming up here into the Highland Park area.
That's right, crossing into oncoming traffic, other lanes, making a right here. Again, this is something that a chase that started back here in Highland Park area, and it's made its way onto freeways, onto the 110. They're stadium way back now in Highland Park. This pursuit started out in tracking mode just from the air, but again, reckless driving, again, stolen car suspect being pursued by the LAPD right now.
Yeah, and we believe that this is still in the South Pasadena area. We believe he was on Monterey Road, now parallel to the 110. Do you have a better description of where this stolen vehicle suspect is, Megan?
Well, we're in Highland Park there. We're in a couple of the avenues right now. I think, let me see what he's going to do here. We're just a little west of South Pasadena, so we're back in LAPD jurisdiction. As he crosses over, comes into a parking lot here. So now he's cutting through a parking lot. This is going to be onto another street here, and let's see what LAPD is going to do. Again, if they can just figure out where he's going, which isn't as easy as you would think it is, they can deploy a spike strip or get that unit as close as possible in order to perform that pit maneuver. But look how fast he's going. This is surface streets, blowing through some stop signs. We already saw that. Just hit a speed bump. He's going back toward Monterey Road. If I'm correct here, the direction is going to drop him off to Monterey Road. Just cross the stop sign right there. And LAPD now knows if he's going to stay in this area, they can hopefully deploy some spike strips. But here we go. I think we're about a block away from Monterey Road, that major surface street that's coming up right there. That is Monterey Road here in the Highland Park area. York Boulevard. York Boulevard. Monterey turns into York Boulevard. So now we're on York Boulevard, and we are going in an easterly or westerly direction here, and he's going to be approaching Figueroa. That's going to be his next major intersection. And look at this guy. He is just blown through Figueroa, going along York Boulevard, traveling in a westbound direction, and he's actually crossing by the LAPD Northeast station. It's not too far from here.
Megan, do you know if you heard any reports if the suspect is armed? We saw that a couple of weeks ago in that last pursuit where the suspect was armed. Do we know anything? We do know that there's one person, another person, or if that suspect is armed.
You always assume somebody's armed, unfortunately. That's what you do in these cases. You don't know if this is a stolen vehicle. Well, how was his vehicle stolen? Was it taken out of force? Was it just a burglary that happened overnight? Something of that nature. That's what officers are finding out right now. But again, you do not know if this person is armed, so you're going to assume the worst, that this person is armed. So that's what makes some of these situations a little more dangerous. Running another stop sign right there. When those officers perform a pit maneuver, they literally put themselves in the line of fire. Now, we're not saying this guy has a weapon, but realistically, when you flip that vehicle and it turns around, he is facing officers. He or she is facing officers running another red light, and that definitely puts them at a potential risk. So they want to use extreme caution and make sure that none of those officers are jeopardized running another stop sign. And don't think, you know, he keeps running all these stop signs, and we're by a school right now. You can see the school buses. Fortunately, this summer school session is in class right now, so we didn't see any children outside, but we are in the Highland Park area paralleling Figueroa, and it looks like this might be Meridian or one of the streets in the Highland Park area, so we're going to see what this guy's going to do. Or one of the streets in the Highland Park area, so we're going to see what this guy's going to do.
That's right. This police pursuit, again, we're looking at a maroon or burgundy sedan. We've gotten confirmation here that this is a stolen vehicle. A chase that has been on a number of surface streets in the Highland Park area made its way onto the 110 freeway. And Megan, since we've been started our coverage on this, we've seen speeds actually excel.
Yeah, he's been driving somewhat recklessly. He's slowing down right now. Whether or not he's looking for someone, a lot of times, you know, they'll go back to an area, as I said, they're familiar with. Sometimes they're on the phone, they're calling their friends or family, and a couple of times we'll actually see a pursuit end in front of their home, and family members will come running out in order to minimize any potential danger or threat. They feel that they're under threat of the police department. Well, you're not. Just pull over. You're in a stolen car. You're caught. Here we go. Car's
Right.
turning right. So now he just made a left turn on the street here, and he's just kind of going slow, almost as cruising the neighborhood. Whether or not if he's showing off to his friends, hey, I'm in a stolen car. That looks like that might be Figueroa Street here. That's Figueroa in the Highland Park area. So he was just kind of cruising the neighborhood. But again, stolen vehicle, you don't know what this person is up to. You don't know how this vehicle was taken. So officers are going to have to use extreme caution.
Yeah, reckless indeed. He's not even stopping at stop signs and going through a couple red lights, just cutting people off here. The neighborhood there that I'm looking at the map here, Figueroa, Meridian, this is a radius of near Garvanza Park, parallel to the 110. So York Boulevard, nearby Franklin High School. That's the area we're talking about, correct, Megan? So if
Yeah,
people
and
are
looking at it.
watching.
Yeah, and the thing is you also want to, like, they're throwing up hand signs to other people. So he's probably just cruising this neighborhood. This is probably his neighborhood. He's familiar with it. And it seems right now he's just driving around trying to get his props, that he's in a stolen car. He knows, obviously, police are behind him as well as above, but it's just a matter of time running another stop sign. And again, the way he's making some of these turns going into these neighborhoods, I'm almost certain that he knows where he is. He's just kind of driving around right now and just delaying until it comes to an end.
And Megan, you talked about the perfect conditions, if you will, for a pit maneuver. We're talking about it needs to be a minimum 35 miles per hour?
Can't really exceed, I believe, 35 miles per hour. Now, surface streets, you're going to have perfect conditions here, but you want to make sure there's no pedestrians.
Right.
Officers really got a lot to deal with. Parked cars, sometimes we've seen pit maneuvers happen and they've taken out a parked vehicle or two. They want to minimize that. Now, right here would be really good if that officer was able to get up to the left side of that vehicle as he started accelerating. That's when he would want to engage in that pit maneuver. But unfortunately, he just wasn't able to do that. But since he seems to be going in circles here in the Highland Park area, officers may try to engage and use the spike strip. So that's a little tricky. They got to determine, okay, well, he's probably been around this location a couple of times. Let's take a bet and let's see if he's going to come in this area, and they'll deploy the spike strips. So there's many tactics officers can use to, whoop, that's abruptly stopping, and that wasn't a smart move. You saw that LAPD officer had to stop quickly as well. So we're coming up on a turn here. There's a bus. Probably wasn't the best move to do a pit maneuver, so that's why officers did not try to perform that yet. But those officers are highly trained. They practice every month on those pit maneuvers. They stay certified, so there's no doubt in my mind when the condition is right, this LAPD officer will bring this pursuit to an end via a pit maneuver if he or she can.
All right. Well, we did get some more information. We know that LAPD is the main agency on this case now. They don't know how many people are in that vehicle, and we can tell you as part of this pursuit that CHP is not involved, and even South Pasadena Police is not involved. So LAPD hot on this trail right here, still in the Highland Park area, correct?
That is correct, Highland Park area. We're bordering, I think this might be Meridian, or one of those side streets that actually parallels Figueroa. So this was the area where News Chopper 4 first heard of the pursuit. So this person has come back into the neighborhood that they're familiar with. We make that left turn on the street. If any good news, he's going a lot slower, so that's good. He's, well, as I said that, he's starting to pick up some speed. So he's on a stretch now where he's going a little faster, but at times he is not driving as recklessly as we heard earlier and just ran that stop sign there. So now he is kind of driving more recklessly. And again, it's whether or not officers want to feel the necessity to put this in a tracking mode. And they're not going to cancel this pursuit. I mean, if worse comes to worse, they're just going to do a tracking mode and keep an eye on this guy from above. But they're going to get this guy. It's going to end eventually. Stolen vehicle. And you have to remember, officers probably already know a lot more than what they're telling us. They may already know who this person is. If this vehicle is stolen, we don't know. There could have been a suspect description. This guy could have fit the description. So they probably already know who this person is, and they're going to follow this until it comes to.
Okay, if you're just now joining us, you're watching a high-speed pursuit here, residential pursuit now in the Highland Park area. This started at 10:20 this morning. This is a stolen vehicle. Suspect has been going now for 40 minutes. We just got more information, though, too. The suspect, the driver, according to police, they noticed this suspect threw something out of the window. This was about 5 minutes, but they're really looking for a prime opportunity, as far as police are, to conduct a pit maneuver to stop this suspect. But there has to be certain conditions, certified vehicles here. LAPD right now hot on his trail. South Pasadena Police not involved. CHP, we are watching this suspect go through residential neighborhoods, not stopping at stop signs, not stopping, very reckless here at times. Police right there, very close to the suspect.
Okay, folks, we are going to keep an eye on this, monitor all the information, everything that goes down here with this stolen car suspect. We're going to join Access Hollywood Live in progress. More on this police pursuit coming up on the NBC4 News. I've just gotten where we're going to stick with this pursuit here, folks. Again, you're looking at a stolen car suspect here in Highland Park. Burgundy maroon in color. We got word from LAPD not too long ago that the suspect threw something out of the window not too long ago, probably less than 10 minutes ago. And in fact, that was right around the time we thought maybe perhaps he was throwing up some type of sign out the window. We have Megan Reyes live in News Channel 4, first over the scene of this chase in Highland Park. Megan.
We're coming back into South Pasadena right now. Let me pull out here. This is LAPD in a pursuit. Now we're coming back toward South Pasadena at the intersection of Monterey and Meridian. I believe that is where we almost had one of those accidents by the train tracks. Here we go, going on the wrong side of the road right now, wrong side of the road, and he is now making a turn onto, this is Monterey Road here in South Pasadena, traveling on the wrong side of the road. And I guarantee you South Pasadena, well, they're aware a pursuit is in their neighborhood. They've got a stolen vehicle suspect now driving on the wrong side of the road in their neighborhood. And so LAPD is coming up on this real quick right now. I hear he may have a flat tire. According to officers, he's just passing over El Centro right there. This is Monterey Road, just passing El Centro, traveling in a northerly direction. And Mission Road is going to be the next major intersection, and the street is going to curve to the right. So he's going to have to make that right turn there. And now we are coming onto the main thoroughway in South Pasadena. This is Mission Road, and driving on the wrong side there again. Really no reason to. I mean, there's no cars, whether or not if he's trying to make this more of a dangerous pursuit. But look at that. Wrong side of the road here in South Pasadena, and LAPD units as well as South Pasadena are going to engage in this pursuit.
And again, it's not unlikely when chases like these cross jurisdictional lines, we get other agencies involved. In this case, South Pasadena PD. Again, folks, if you're just joining us here as we approach 11:03, you're looking at a high-speed pursuit involving the LAPD and, of course, the stolen car suspect. They've been on this guy for about the last 40-45 minutes.
Right, about 10:20 is when it started here. This is the area of South Pasadena, the Mission Street, Monterey area, going on the wrong side of the road here. Very dangerous situation here as he continues on. They believe that he might have a flat tire. Is that what police are hearing, Megan?
Well, let me try to show you. You know, it's hard to see right now whether that front tire is flat or not, but we're just passing, we're approaching Fremont Avenue. We're on Mission, approaching Fremont Avenue, and he's really close to the South Pasadena police station. So we're going to see what he's going to do here. Looks like he has a red light, and there goes the car that almost had hit him. So now we're crossing in front of, there's the South Pasadena police station right there, and hopefully those officers, he's making a right turn there and couldn't really initiate that turn. So now we're going, trying to hear whether or not LAPD, what they were doing, but we're crossing over El Centro right now, just blew that stop sign. So this is residential area in South Pasadena, and I'm just hoping that we can eventually bring this to an end. A lot of trees here in this neighborhood, so we're trying to see exactly what he's doing, but he's going to come back out onto Monterey Road. So he's going to have to turn either right or left, and here he goes. You can see him through those trees, coming out through Monterey Road, making a left turn. So now he's going eastbound on Monterey Road in South Pasadena. You can see the shadow of the LAPD helicopter, and he is approaching Fair Oaks here. Let's see what this guy is going to decide to do.
So now in South Pasadena, so brazen, passing by the South Pasadena Police Department. Have they now engaged in this pursuit, helping LAPD?
Well, it's LAPD's discretion. Usually when you're in an area, if you're not familiar with, I'm sure South Pasadena is assisting them right now. We're approaching the middle school here in South Pasadena. I believe they may actually be on summer school, so that's some good news right there. But we're crossing over Fair Oaks. We're going southbound Fair Oaks, and this road is going to end onto, well, yep, well, if you want to know his tire was going flat, that's your answer right there. He just lost his tire. He's on the rims. So this pursuit's going to end. I mean, they try to drive on these rims as long as they can. It's just a matter of time before he loses control. He's going to be, and now he's not going to have full control of that vehicle. And as he makes a turn, here we go. We're coming up onto the Huntington Drive here. He's going to make this a right turn. He's making a right turn onto Huntington Drive, and he's going to be traveling a little more slowly now, hopefully, because he is losing ability to control this vehicle. So now we're going westbound on Huntington Drive, and we're kind of going back into the El Sereno as we cross over Fremont Avenue. We're going back into the El Sereno Highland Park area. So basically, South Pasadena units are probably assisting, but from what I hear, LAPD is still primary for this pursuit, a stolen vehicle originating out of the LAPD Northeast Division.
Yeah, and this guy running on at least one rim at this point. Speeds don't seem to have been slowing down whatsoever, Megan.
No, I mean, he's not, but eventually that is going to be the crucial factor, which is going to cause him to spin out because he is losing control of that car. You minimize control when you're on those rims, and a lot of times they drive it such a length of time, we start seeing the sparks, and there you go, just running a red light, just going through there. LAPD is going to end this. I mean, this guy, you watch, he's going to come up, he's like, okay, this is enough. He's going to initiate this pit maneuver. Here we go. And this is a Huntington Drive. We're coming into El Sereno right now, and this guy's almost enjoying it. He's just letting it go as long as he can, but watch how careful LAPD is. We have an intersection there. We want to make sure it's clear. Here we go. Initiate that pit maneuver. Boom. He's got him. Vehicle spun out. This guy's going to come right in front of him. He's not going to be able to back up. Hopefully, he won't be able to back up, and this pursuit now is stopped in this El Sereno area, and we're going to see these officers here. Look at those guys. They all got their guns drawn right now, and they are summoning him to get out of the vehicle. Whether or not he wants to comply is going to be one story, but I see his hands, so I'm going to zoom in because we see his hands. Excuse me. We know he is complying. Tinted windows, that's another issue. We don't see whether or not if there's another person in there. You always assume there's more than one. So once they get this person out, they're going to clear this vehicle. Right now, they're issuing the commands. We want to see your hands. They're going to tell them they want him to drop the keys out of the vehicle from the inside. Now, open the door from the outside like you see what he's doing. This is protocol there. They want to see the hands at all times. He's going to come out of that vehicle, hopefully complying, not pulling any shenanigans, and comply with those officers, but it appears that's the case. I mean, it's the pursuit. It ended. This guy knows it ended. The game is over, and pretty much he's just going to follow what LAPD. And see, those are the keys right there. They want him to drop those keys to make sure that in case if somebody else is in the car, they can't get in that car and start it and jump from the back seat to the front seat. So that's why they do that. Eventually, he will drop those keys, or he's just going to hold on to them for his own souvenir, but he's going to come out of that vehicle nice and slow. And let me pull out a little here. You can see where those officers are. This is Huntington Drive here in the El Sereno area, border of South Pasadena. But he doesn't appear to really be rushing. He's just kind of taking his time. He knows the game is up. He knows the game's over, and he's just going to slowly comply with their commands and do what they tell him to do.
All right, you see them exiting the vehicle right there. This is a stolen vehicle, by the way, walking backwards toward police, which is protocol, Megan.
It is, it is. They do not want them to see him. They do not want officers to see them approach. He's going to lay in the prone position, cross your legs. Sometimes they have him cross the legs, but he's actually proned out. Now, officers are going to be very careful. There's usually going to be a couple of officers here who are going to approach him, and they also want to make sure that vehicle is cleared. So still, we have an active scene. These guys are going to go put the handcuffs on him, but we still have other officers on the car. You see these guys, and they're going to make sure this car is cleared, checking the back window, but we're not done yet. We want to make sure that trunk is clear. That's part of the protocol as well. And sometimes, believe it or not, you'll see somebody in the car. So that's why that officer has that shotgun in the direction of the car. They're going to pop the trunk, make sure there's no victim, make sure there's no other suspect. But once that trunk is cleared, then they're going to call this a code 4 situation. But we're just waiting for that to happen right now while the suspect has been apprehended and he is in custody.
Yeah, like you said, game over. What a guy, what a suspect here. Total disregard for life, running through stop signs, getting on the freeway, going the wrong way. But it is now over, nearly almost an hour later. That's a good thing that no one was hit or killed in this ridiculous situation here. They got him, though. They got their man.
That's right. A chase that started in Highland Park. Spent most of the time there in Highland Park. Got onto the 110 at one point. Ending in South Pasadena, El Sereno area. You see right there the suspect walking backwards towards police. They're now checking the trunk to make sure it's an all clear. But we're talking about a stolen car with tinted windows. So they obviously, as with protocol, proceed with caution. So
yeah, they seem to be having a little trouble opening that trunk, but the vehicle is cleared. Once they figure out how to get that trunk open, they don't want to assume anything. But once that trunk is open, then officially this thing is going to be over. And really, it's kind of over right now. Pull out a little. The suspect's already apprehended. He's in custody, and we're just making sure that this trunk is cleared. And once they do that, they're going to try to move this vehicle to reopen the street here. But for right now, Huntington Drive, eastbound Huntington Drive in El Sereno, shut down until they can clear the street from this earlier pursuit.
All right, Megan Reyes, thank you so much. First on the scene, bringing us that aerial bird's eye view of that pursuit that has now ended in the El Sereno area. We're going to have more for you coming up at noon. We return you to your regular programming.
Alan, I don't know.
I'm still recovering from what she said earlier.
Unbelievable. This new footage, okay, now.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, there is more.
Okay.
Again, it's supposed to end with the reunion show, but no. This new footage from their therapy session reveals just how obsessed Tori is with the details of the night that Dean cheated on her. She wants to know everything. She just can't let it go.
Why did she say that you guys cuddled all night? And why did you say that you did?